And welcome guys to another little video series. Now in this video series it's going to deal with animating and in Blender and importing it straight into Unity, the problems you'll face, the bugs that you'll see, and things that I've learned working with the engine over time. Now the video series is concentrating on how to animate a weapon. So if you don't know anything, then it is perfectly for you. If you know everything, then please hit the dislike button. Don't like the video, do whatever you want because you're probably going to do it anyway. But in the video series, I'm going to teach you how to do something like this as a reload animation or whatever your little heart desires for animating. If you can do a reload animation like this, then you can do anything else because it deals with using all the poses that you need, and well, reload animation deals with constraints and everything. So yeah, you could pretty much probably do any animation you want with walking, running, and all that other stuff. But we are going to concentrate on FPS weapons, shading problems that you might find in working in the Blender. So if you want to learn and things like that, please pay attention to the updates because I have many updates probably coming in the next week or so, or vice versa. And thank you guys for watching, and I hope you learned something from this mini series for animating your weapons. Now, thank you, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Now, as you can see within our Blender here, we actually have an IK rig. This is not able to use IK. And to prove this to you, we can go into our tool shelf, click in Auto IK, and if I grab a hold of his wrist bone right here, and I grab, see how it doesn't move whatsoever, besides the hand right there, and the vertices and things get all jacked up. This is due to this is not an IK-able rig because the bones are not connected. They have the relationship chain, like they've been parented and things, and if you go over here and do certain things like this, then they're still parented, but they don't have the ability to be use an IK, which is fine. I mean, don't get me wrong. We can still work with a rig like this. And the really cool thing about it is we will be using a tool that already exists in Blender. Now, before we get too involved in things, we need to learn what these things are. So we're going to do Alt. If you ever have a bunch of rotations in here, you can always click on a bone, hit A to deselect everything, but hit A again and you will select all the bones in your skeleton. Okay, and you can always go up to pose. Okay, and then you should be able to do an Alt G for if you change the location. Now notice in this menu right here that it also gives us keys to what's going to go on. We can go Alt R as well. So Alt G clears the locations, and then Alt R clears the rotations, which comes in very, very handy when you do something really bad like this. You grab this, you rotate this, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got this so messed up. It's never going to be easy. You do not have to sit there and do everything. Just select all your bones by AA, and then hit Alt R, and then Alt G. And you're back to basically your rest state. Now, that is moving. If you ever never have this ball right here, you go down here to this little clicker, and you have to click on it one time, and it will give you the ball again. Now, this is a useful thing for when you're just, it's annoying and you don't want it on the screen and stuff, or you know exactly what you're doing, and you can rotate and things, and you know you're using all the shortcut keys, then you don't really need it in there because you know how you're going to work. If you ever want to take your tool shell off the screen, you can hit T. And then this is, I just call it my manipulator screen here, because it's used for manipulating transforms and stuff like that. You can get that off by N, okay? And this could become useful for you. Now, if you're used to Unity's point system with quaternions and locations, quaternion.identity is 1000, okay, in Blender, okay? So if you ever want to deal with the point system, like, let's say you're sitting in here and you're like this, but you don't want the whole thing, you just want to type it in, you can go 1000. And how I'm going in between these numbers here is using tab. So you click on the W, you'll go 1, then tab, 0, tab, 0, tab, 0. And that will zero it out for you. Or you can hit Alt R, which is very useful for you. Now, another thing that's very useful for us is if you go down here, you can change the camera length, the view lens, which by default is 35. You can change this to 60 or 1 or anything like that. I usually keep it at 35 because it looks pretty close to my framing for Unity when I'm at 60 or so. Now, if you ever want Blender to act like Unity would for the normal stuff, you'll go and you'll scroll down in this manipulating screen, and you'll hit backface calling, and you click it on, and it will act just like it will in Unity when the back faces don't get rendered. And that's how you do that. Now, another cool thing to use when you're in here is texture, solid, or medicap. Medicap is a material that's in here that you can make it a solid color if you want, just to bring out details. It will not, I don't believe, export into Unity. It's just a shading trick for you. Okay, and ambient occlusion gives you a bunch of these little dots, and it's kind of nice to bring out the detail if you want it in the models because sometimes you've got a little bit of vertices here for like pigments or something in your skin, maybe a little bit of dents and stuff, and it will not show up. And sometimes you want that to show up. So you can turn ambient occlusion on, and it could help you with that. Or go with Medicap, and it might bring out a lot of your things. Now, if these lines right here ever get on your nerves, you can turn those off as well. The relationship lines, that's what they're called. Alright, so you don't have to have them. I leave them on because sometimes I use them to follow what bones go where, because it gets pretty complicated. And you also have a vector for your 3D cursor. And it's this little circle thing. That's your 3D cursor. When you import an object, like let's say a gun to animate or anything into Blender, it will start off where this 3D cursor is. So if you ever want to zero it out, you can go into your little toolbox here, which I call the manipulator, and you can go 0, 0, 0, and it will put it right here in the center of this little dot. And you can do a lot of things. Okay, you can get the display where it will render, and that's how it will look. World background, render border, which I haven't got a clue what that uses it for, because I don't really use most of these features that's in Blender, which is a shame sometimes. Okay, now you see this grid floor, you can actually change the subdivision of it. You can actually have it go and be more, I believe, and less, right? Or is it something else? Ah, yes, this is the scaling of it, which I don't mess with too much. Line 16. Okay, and this is how far it goes out. So, like, let's say if you're creating levels, it might be hard to see in the video, but this is actually making it bigger, which we don't really need, but it's there. You can really see it if I just make it really small. Okay. Now, you're probably wondering, why do I have my arms right here? Well, this is the 0, 0 mark right here. I want it to be a little bit below so that my arms start off in the 0, 0, 0 transform. So when the game starts up and I spawn it into the thing, the 0, 0 mark is going to be like relatively here. And this will make it start off with no rotation, no location information, and when I parent it into our transform hierarchy in the game, it will always be 0, 0, 0. I don't have to do some crazy offset or anything like that in Unity. And this becomes very useful. Now I leave these right here because maybe I want to use this right here for animating. But you don't have to have these bones right here at all. They can be deleted, and this down here can be deleted as well. But I use this as somewhat a marker when I'm going down through here. Now, to easily align your camera where you want it, now I always put this horizontal line, and I line it up somewhere about right here. Now, up here's a window of all your stuff. Now, I'm going to select the camera here, okay? And this is a regular object, and you can actually make it align with the view. Align view to active. No. We want to make it to the view. I know it's here. Selection. Transform. Align transform to this. Where is it in the tool shelf? I was just using it not long ago. Align view to active? No. Right, active. Align active camera to view. That's what we want. And that's kind of where you want it, I guess. Hit 0. Now let's manipulate this a little. And we've got it at 30 some, so we don't have to mess with it. Now, when it comes to this camera and stuff, if you were to go Alt-R, it will go all the way down, which kind of sucks, right? So, up at our manipulator here, I will go on the X-axis, and we see that it's here. So, we need 90, right? This gives us a clear thing, and to see which way it goes, this is a rotation on the Y, which we don't want. So we'll put this as a 0, which we still have to mess with this anyway. But now we're going 90 here, so we want negative 90. Okay? Now we hit 0 for the view on the camera, which it shows that we're not in the view that we want. Now, you got to be careful where you place your camera, because you can clip into these spots right here for your arms. Now, scroll wheeling will do this, but the actual view for rendering will only be what's in this square. So if we were to go up here and go render image or render an animation, it will only show here. Now, using this point right here, we can determine what's going to be in the view in Unity. It will obey this kind of transform space. That's what I'm going to call it. You could call it positions or whatnot. It's totally up to you. But this will give us a nice little base for this. Now, if you wanted to make a separate window, you could do that. You can go down here, make another 3D view, hit 0 right here, and then just place something like this. And this can be your little view of what's going on and yada yada yada. And then you could still have this right here. But I kind of like to not have screens like this because of one specific reason. I don't like messing with... What one was that? I know it wasn't the dope sheets. It's not the file browser. Is it the info tab? No. Properties? Yes, the properties. Okay. All these windows are pretty customizable too. I mean, usually I don't have this timeline up because, well, it originally starts off like this, which is a timeline. This number down here is where it's the starting frame. This is the ending frame. Okay? Usually I start off my animations at like 10. And the reason why is because of how short they start off. I can always expand this, okay? But when I go to hit play, I want it to loop really, really fast and go to a certain animation, right? So that it will keep looping and looping and looping, and I don't have to wait 200 and some wasteful frames. And this window right here, this little small one, is your current frame. What frame you are currently looking at. You can click on this and get to a frame and step in between here. But there's a trick to this, okay? If you have any type of rotation on here, like so, well, let's do this. I'll give you an example. Okay, let's take this. Let's go into our date sheet. All right, in our standard frame here, we're going to go to 1. Okay, we're going to move our arm up like so, and maybe our wrist a little over. Okay, we are going to hit I and do full character. Okay, now if we were to move this a little bit over and things, and we were messing around with the transforms, like let's say we just exited out and things, if we hit anything on this timeline, it will snap it back to that, and we will lose all the work that we done. Now remember this, because this is something that will happen a lot. You'll be like, oh, I messed up. Now you can hit Alt Z, okay, and put it back. But the problem is, if you wanted to, let's say, not have this at this exact keyframe, you can go up to your tool shelf, you hit Copy Pose, okay? And you can go over here. Let's say we don't like these keyframes here at all, so we're moving them, and I don't know what this keyframe's here for, but we can delete it. Delete. Why are you there? That's odd. Why does that keyframe exist? No clue. Kind of strange. But let's say you want your copied pose that you had to be here. Now, with everything selected, you can hit pose. You can go up to pose and hit paste. Okay? This will put that in there, but it will not put it in the timeline. And the reason why is if we're in the timeline, we do not have this where it will automatically do stuff. Okay? And I don't work with it being automatically on, is because I don't want it to automatically put keyframes in the animation when it just randomly. You know, when I move stuff, it will put a keyframe. If I move something, it'll put a keyframe. It's kind of annoying to work with when it's in that manner. And you'll put local rot. Local rot means a local rotation. And then there's available, and then delta location. I work with locations and rotations all the time, so I would probably put available. And this right here, you'll hit this. Okay? So now we have all this. And if you ever want to move this like this, middle mouse button. And now we are recording all the time, which, like I said, is kind of annoying to work with. So I'll go up to my dope sheet. I'll go up to here, and you'll see what I mean by, and it will make a keyframe. It'll automatically make it for you. Now this might be something desirable and things like that, but I'm going to tell you, I would not use this feature right here because of it auto keyframe. It's very annoying because sometimes you'll be sitting here making a keyframe, and you'll make a keyframe here, and then guess what? This right here got recorded, and I don't want it. So now I hit Alt R, but if I go up here and start messing around, it might still be there. I don't like it. I like more control. So I'm going to go back into my timeline. This, wrong, don't like it. Boom. Because all this is doing is, in your dope sheet, all you have to do is go A, hit I, and you can do anything you want there. Okay? But you have to have your mouse cursor in this window right here. Okay? Then hit I. Okay? And you can hit available. Okay? And it will record the changes and stuff like that. But most of the time, when I do an I, it's the whole character, the entire skeleton. And I can go through and delete stuff and things. Because a lot of times, when you're in here, you'll want to do the whole character, okay? But let's say you want to make a motion in between here, right? Like, let's say you want your wrist to maybe go sideways a little, okay? Sideways. And then I will take this entire pose, copy it, hit I for whole character, then go up here, hit I for the whole character, and then go in between here, okay? And just go and do this, okay? And then hit I again. Now, if you didn't do this, then you can't have the reference points for certain things. See how this is going to be like here? Oh, it changed our position on our camera. Well, just phooey on you. So we will fix you. That would be 90, 0, and then negative 90. Okay. And then we will hit 0, because that's what we do. Oh, and it's not in the screen space. That kind of sucks. But we will take our tool shelf off, our transform manipulation thing, and now we can play the animation here. Hit Alt A, and it will play only up to the 10 spot. So let's fix that. Play it up to 10. And how many keyframes do we actually have? No clue. Usually it shows our keyframes. Actually, it's not showing them because we're not in pose mode. We're in object mode. Okay. And why doesn't it show our keyframes? Oh, because they're all the way over there. Okay, well that makes sense. So now we go through and we're in slow motion and things. And see how he turns his thing. See, if you did available, as a tip, if you did available and you don't have these extra keyframes here, then it doesn't know how to alert from that position to the next. Okay? Like, let's say, for instance, okay, I'm going to go in between here. We know that this is right here, right? So maybe I want to change something. So we will go And how could I put a good example of this? Okay, we will put in here, and we'll go over here. We'll change this one now, and we'll go Alt A, and we'll do available, right? And then we will go over here to the next one and go Alt available. Okay, and that messed up my arm, but I'll still do Alt available. Okay, now you see how it works out a little bit, and it still worked out pretty okay. And his arm goes all wacky over there, and that's great. Now, this is great and all, but we have to go give you a really good example of why I don't like auto keyframing and everything like that. So we will go delete every keyframe and start clean over. Okay? Now we will go and work with the auto keyframing, because this will give you a prime example of why I don't use this. We'll do local rot. Okay? Now we're in the default thing. Well, we don't have to be. Let's make a keyframe at 0 mark, or maybe the 10 mark. Okay, so we'll go AA to select all the stuff, and we will only mess with, let's say, this one. Okay, make sure we're in the dope sheet. Okay, it didn't record anything. These are all local rotations, and it should have recorded something, right? But it didn't. It recorded absolutely nothing, which it should record something right now, but it's not. Not diddly squat. And that is because of what I said before. We have to have this marker on. Okay? So now we'll go into dope sheet, and we will record this motion. Okay? Notice it didn't record anything else. Okay? And then we'll go over here and record this. So now we've got something. Okay? So we're going to go from that position to the next. Alright? So we're going to go into the rest state. So I'm going to do Alt R right here. And if I play this animation, it should go like up and down, right? Well, it's not going to do what you expect it to. Okay, we'll play and you'll see what happens. See how it didn't move at all? It's because it doesn't have a start and a stop. It only has that movement from there. So this entire thing broke. It didn't raise our hands or anything like that. And you're probably like, well, we can fix that with, you know, a little bit of hope and stuff and dreams. Well, we can go back, okay, and you have to go keyframe everything, okay. Now this will do something, which it should work as expected. No, it doesn't, does it? Timeline 140, no, and now it doesn't do anything really, which kind of sucks. But we go up to dope sheet now, and then we sit here and we're gonna start keyframing. Okay, this is very important. Wherever you set this green line is where it's going to keyframe. Okay, and you'll have that there, and let's just do like a little motion up here with this. And now, as to be expected, it probably should work correctly, right? Bounce up around and with his arms, right? And it's kind of working. But we had to make a whole keyframe for all of it first before we go to the next. Now, the really stupid thing, and this is one of the things that I hate, is let's say you move these keyframes right here. You go and grab, okay, and then you want to add different things in between here. Well, the problem is if you add something in here, in between, okay, now it goes all weird. Now you would expect it to go bounce in and out and in and out. Okay, let's play it and see. Not exactly what we had in mind, huh? Because we're going from there to there. Which auto keyframing done a pretty good job there, I'm not gonna lie. But look, we got this. Did we have this before? And the answer is a little bit, but I don't think this is a great solution for you. That's one reason why I'm showing this to you, because I don't think it works that great. I mean, it does work, but it's error prone and very easy to mess up, and I don't believe that it should be something that you would want to use. Right? So there is a few things right there in the nutshell of tips for Blender and using the animation timeline. Now, the next subject that we hit are going to be some advanced topics dealing with over here in our next video with using rest and position, and we're going to talk about how we can use weights and stuff. So thank you guys for watching, and please like, hit subscribe, and all that good stuff. But this is working with the timeline. And really, thank you guys for watching. I know it wasn't an exciting video, but I think you should hit the topic a little bit so that you can learn what the timeline is and what kind of sucks and what doesn't. And thank you.